It's time once again to make a video about the items I've added to my Jabba collection in the last several weeks. And in all honesty, it's been a little bit slow on the collecting front recently. I do have some new items to show off, but in addition to those, I thought it might be interesting to show a couple of items that I've been creating myself, but maybe not merit making a full video for or something like that. So one of those items is this right here. Now, if you are familiar with Hasbro's line of so-called prototype figures, you will probably recognize what this is supposed to be. But Hasbro has been releasing these prototype figures where they have sort of each part, the arms, each arm, each leg, the body, and the head generally, all be different colors to kind of hint at the idea that, oh, it's some kind of a toy prototype where they just used plastic that they had on hand for the individual sections and so forth. I've never actually seen a prototype that looks anything like these prototypes that they're selling, and I have a number of prototypes in my actual collection, so I do know something about it, but still, I kind of like the look. I like the rainbow sort of Harlequin look here, and so I decided I'd want to recreate it myself. This is, of course, a 3D printed Jabba. I wouldn't paint an actual vintage Jabba to do this, I don't think, but I did print this in resin, and then actually I did it all in just a gray resin because even though it would be ideal to print each of these colors in the actual color it's supposed to be, it's actually really difficult, if not impossible, to get primary colors like this, all of these different colors. I could try and sort of mix pigments into the resin myself and do it that way, but that's a lot of work, and I just decided it would be easier to paint it, and so that's what I've done here. I painted each section with acrylic paints and then sprayed it with a gloss coat to give it kind of more of a plasticky look, because the acrylic paints tend to be kind of matte, and I think it turned out really nice. I think this looks cool, and it's something that could go along with that kind of Hasbro prototype look for sure. By the way, I kind of have refined my approach for 3D printing these things, so I only have one hole here. I used to have a bunch of holes in the bottom for draining out the extra resin and so forth, but I managed to just make one hole, which seems like, it's not that big of a deal just to have the one there. I did decide to glue the arms in place instead of having them be articulated, because they tend to be a little bit too loose, and also the paint would end up scratching off, I think, if I had these movable. But yeah, just as a display piece, it looks really cool. Speaking of vintage Kenner Jabbas, I picked up this sorry-looking specimen on eBay a little bit ago, and finding an armless Jabba on eBay is not at all unusual. If you've ever searched, you'll know that. But this one was special for a reason I'll tell you in just a second. But, just looking at it, obviously he's missing his arms. He's got a dirty face, kind of weird discoloration on the back of his head here, more so than the front. I don't know. He just does not look great. But you may notice something a little unusual about him, and that is that these pegs here are white. And I noticed that from the auction photos, and I decided to take a chance on him. The reason this is interesting is that if you take the arms off of a normal Jabba, the peg is the same color as the rest of the body, as you can see here. In fact, all the ones that I've seen, including all the ones that show up on eBay and whatnot, have body-colored pegs. So I was kind of excited about this. It sounds a little strange for me to say that out loud, but in any case, I did sort of confer with a couple other collector friends, and the only people that said that they had seen white pegs like this had mentioned that they were on sort of pre-production figures. So I don't know if that's what this is. I don't know if they, used white pegs on a small subset of figures somehow, some way. Who knows? I would be interested to know if anyone in the audience has seen white pegs like this. But in any case, I thought, it was cheap enough that I would pick one up as a kind of curiosity, because I have lots of these vintage Jabbas, but I don't have any with white pegs like that. And by the way, as kind of a coincidence, I was recently printing some stuff for a possible video that hasn't really gone anywhere, but I had been printing these Jabba arms, sort of in an attempt to maybe replicate ones that were missing from other figures. And I did it in this white resin that is semi-flexible, I guess you'd say. It's like a hard rubber, so you can see it does deform, and it's really very similar in feel to the way the original Jabba arms were. So I thought, you know what, I could just put these on here and just to kind of remind me that this is the one that has the white arm pegs on it, and still make him be semi-complete. So I'm sure some of you have been dying to see a picture of a vintage Kenner Jabba with white arms, so you're welcome. Next up, we have two things that are really quite interesting to me anyway. These are custom bootleg figures from Mark Hellis, who is a creator from Spain who makes some very unique and creative Star Wars bootlegs. Recently, he had a sort of so-called claim sale on Instagram. I follow him there and have for quite some time. And he posted a bunch of different, I mean, let's be frank, really quite bizarre figures, some of them, and offered them up for sale. And so I managed to snag these two. I'm really happy that I did because I just find them fascinating. First of all, we can look at, I guess, this one. This is the Gonk droid, obviously, but it's got a pink skull embedded in the front there, and it looks really kind of well used. These are all resin bootlegs, so he's taken the original figure and made a mold of them and then cast them in resin and painted them. I just find this fascinating. It's, I mean, a little disturbing, you know, it's like something you would find in a horror version of Star Wars, which would be something to see, I think. I believe this one is based on a Power of the Force 2 Gonk droid, but I'm not sure. I don't think I have it, at least not easily accessible. This one here, though, was kind of the one that attracted me in the first place, and there's a lot going on here. So, first of all, he's got a skull right here, which is really interesting. He's got articulated arms, which end in Gamorrean guard axes. These are actually magnetically articulated, like the ones that I've made. So that's pretty cool. And then he's got a droid head on top of his head, or instead of his head, I guess I should say, with guns on it. I guess this is like an R4 droid of some kind. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe somebody can chime in if they think they know exactly which one this is. But I was fascinated by this mostly because of the body he chose here, and which is, I don't know if you recognize it, but it's actually the body from the Kenner Friar Tuck figure. Now, some of you may be aware that Kenner took some Star Wars toys and revamped them to use in their Robin Hood line. One of those, of course, was the Gamorrean Guard, which they changed a little bit and turned into Friar Tuck. You can see there are some minor differences, such as like on the belt here, Friar Tuck has a little dagger where it's not here. The sculpting is different on the shoulders. Various things are different, but it's clearly basically the same sculpt, right? And then to have that be used as the basis for yet another thing, I thought was kind of, you know, kind of pretty cool. Poetic justice, or whatever you want to call it. It was appropriate. He also sent along a picture that he drew, which I thought was really cool. This is a, I'm gonna have to move these guys back so I can get it all in frame here. All right, here is the picture he drew, and you know, he just kind of tossed it in there as a freebie. But I think he did a really good job on this. So thank you very much for that and for the figures, Mark Hellis. Do check out his Instagram. I'll link it in the video description. Our next item is a pair of socks from Rock'em Socks. This was actually available at Celebration Anaheim a little bit ago, but they kind of sold out apparently. I wasn't able to get them at that point, but they said that they would, you know, I heard through the grapevine that they'd be making these available through their website, the Rock'em Socks website, and they did. So I was able to finally get a pair of these awesome Max Rebo socks. These have just a sort of repeating Max Rebo pattern. Well, there's a couple of different versions here. We got that, and then this one looks a little bit more like the one from Book of Boba Fett, if you ask me. And then, let's see. Trying to see if these are... Yeah, they actually have several different versions, don't they? Different versions of Max. Pretty cool stuff. I had never really looked at the Rock'em Socks website before. They have all kinds of pop culture socks, as you might expect. And I was glad when I was going to go buy these that I had done my sort of standard search for Jabba, because I was almost ready to check out with these, and I said, well, let's do a sort of Hail Mary kind of last-minute search for Jabba, and sure enough, they actually do have Jabba socks as well. I don't know when they added these, but they're actually really cool. I like them a lot. I got 2 pairs, so I'm going to go ahead and show you the ones that I already have out of the package here. Now, the interesting thing about these is that they are different, and they make up 2 halves of one image. So, like, I guess if you were standing wearing these and someone was looking at you from behind, you could see this image if you had your legs close enough together. And then here we have, let's see, I guess these would be on the top of your feet, right? I think this is really, really cool artwork. I like it a lot. Well done. And, I do have a couple, I think, of other pairs of Jabba socks, but nothing like this, nothing quite as well done as this. And I really appreciate that this appears to be unique artwork to these socks as well. So, really cool. I'll put a link in the video description to these and the Max Rebo ones. It seems like they fairly commonly have 20% off coupons, by the way, so look out for that if you do plan to make an order. All right, here's another 3D printed item that I've made recently. This is the Jabba the Bauble 3D model that I got from Anvil Rage Studios, and I printed this off on the resin printer and painted it myself. The idea, of course, is that, it's a Christmas ornament that you would sort of hang on the tree, and Jabba's there hanging by his neck, but he seems kind of happy about it, so I guess we're all right with that. Yeah, I think this turned out not too badly. And in fact, I made a couple versions of it. I decided to try making one that was kind of metallic to make it look like blown glass or something like that, like a Christmas ornament might be made out of. And turned out all right, I think. This one, what I did was probably a little overly complex, but I sort of sprayed it silver first, and then I sprayed some pigments like the green and the orange on top of that. I could have also just mixed the pigments with the silver paint probably, but I wanted to see how this would look, so not bad. When I made it, it was still July, so I was joking that it was Christmas in July. I actually made these, I printed these off many months ago, maybe in February or something, and kind of just put them away and never did anything with them until recently. So, yeah, I just thought I'd show that off. If you want to try and download these to print yourself, I'll put the link in the video description. It's about $5. Last but not least, I have this vinyl sticker from the artist Chris Lee. I thought it was quite cute the way he's got a little bunny rabbit there on the throne, and almost the way he's holding his arms here almost makes it look like Jabba himself is pretending to be a rabbit. I don't know if that was intentional or not. This particular one is called Gangster, and it is available on Chris Lee's website along with other stickers and things of that nature. I was really impressed when I recently discovered his work. I really like his style. He's got some pop culture inspired ones like Star Wars or He-Man, but he's also got some original characters that are really cool as well. So I'll put his Instagram and website in the video description. That's about it for today's video. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you again real soon. This video was brought to you with the help of my patrons from Patreon, including these Palace VIPs you see here, Angelica Brady and Jesper Murtu. I really appreciate your support. And if you'd like to help support the channel for as little as $1 a month, you can check out the link in the video description.